Our own Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanga Nji, says he's a sheriff. He's not a woman. Right? A sheriff is not supposed to be loved. And that it is only a woman that cares about who love her or not. Mr. Paul Atanga Nji was speaking in an exclusive interview granted to the state broadcaster. He made a lot of staggering revelations, confirming some hypotheses that many people had actually had about some opposition parties, about some opposition leader. But now Mr. Paul Atanga Nji actually sent bullets towards the Professor Maurice Kamto and Cabral Libi. Cabral Libi is an opposition who came forth during the just ended presidential election, or third or so. Now, Professor Maurice Kamto is a leading opposition party leader that came second during the 2020 presidential election. Atanga Nji says that it was him that linked Cabral Libi, an opposition leader. Him that linked Cabral Libi, an opposition, to PCRN. He was the one that connected them, that actually united them, because elections were coming and Cabral Libi did not have a party. That Cabral Libi reached out to him, Atanga Nji, Minister of Territorial Administration. He says because it is his ministry that has a birth certificate of all political parties, which is true. He said he was the one that reached out to PCRN, the founder of PCRN, and negotiated that they should bring in Cabral Libi. And Cabral Libi was brought in. And that if there is a problem in the union, he is the best place, of course, to explain who is legitimately right and wrong. Of course, Minister Paul Atanga Nji is right on that point. So, this now has made Cameroonians to ask a question. So, does it mean that it was Minister Paul Atanga Nji that actually brought Cabral Libi in the just ended 2018 presidential election? Based on what he just said, is he confirming what they thought he was? It is you to make that conclusion. Now, concerning the case of Professor Maurice Kamto, Minister Paul Atanga Nji, Cameroon Minister of Territorial Administration, says that the key opposition leader was in prison, that it was the magnanimity of the head of state, President Paul Biya, a peace-loving man, that decided, despite public opinion, according to Minister Atanga Nji, according to our sheriff, that the public opinion at the time wanted Maurice Kamto to be incarcerated following the law based on the alleged crime he had committed. But that President Paul Biya, in his benevolent magnanimity, decided that no, Professor Maurice Kamto is a son of the soil, and that President Paul Biya decided to release and to discontinue criminal proceedings against Professor Maurice Kamto, based on President Paul Biya's love for the fact that Professor Maurice Kamto should go back and start and continue with political institutions. And that was why they wanted him to actually participate in the 2020 presidential election, that municipal and legislative election. And it was Kamto that Professor Kamto decided not to participate, shot himself on the leg. Now, according to Minister Paul Atanga Nji, that politics is not played on the streets, that it is played at the ballot, and that leaders must take their responsibility. Mr. Paul Atanga Nji says that it was Professor Kamto that decided not to participate on municipal and legislative election, knowing fully well that he will not be able to stand as a presidential candidate in next election, which is now 2025, because he does not have an elected member of parliament or a councillor or a member of or a senator. That Professor Maurice Kamto is trying to deceive Cameroonians and to call for anarchy in Cameroon without mentioning it. That Professor Maurice Kamto has been insisting that he must run under CRM, knowing fully well that CRM cannot provide a candidate because he's a lawyer and should know because of that means that Professor Kamto wants to destabilize Cameroon without mentioning it. So Atanga Nji says that it was clear for him to make the pronouncement that Cameroonians should not be deceived. Now, he said, concerning the legality, whether Professor Kamto is eligible or not to stand for presidential election, he said the onus, that power is at the level of the Constitutional Council and Eleka. That it is not his ministry at all, it is not his ministry that can determine that. In that same interview, our sheriff, Mr. Paul Atanga Nji, Cameroon sheriff, number one sheriff is President Paul Biya. Cameroon sheriff, number 2. After President Paul Biya, Cameroon sheriff also mentioned that Cameroon's President Paul Biya, 92, calls his ministers at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to maintain security and development of the country. He says that they don't sleep, that he doesn't sleep, he's a workaholic. He works right up to 6 a.m. And that Cameroonians should not be deceived. Which means that President Paul Biya is strong enough to take 7 more mandates. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the update I have for you. Which means that Paul Atanga Nji says, Paul Biya, notre président, père de la nation, Paul Biya, encore 7 ans, Biya, Paul Biya. You see this, Cameroon? The days ahead, the political drama that we shall see the days ahead, at the level of the Constitutional Council and elections, Cameroon, shall keep, in fact, we shall be giving you back-to-back analysis. Stay tuned to know about Cameroon's politics now. Stay tuned. Just be following our page. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Our YouTube is Thai News Network, TikTok Thai News Network, Facebook Thai News Network, anything Thai News Network. Now, at Minister Paul Atanga Nji, clear that Cameroonians should not yield into distraction, political distraction, that they should follow the law. He's also saying, by default, Popo, Pobia, Tamanda n'est pas fini, a étudié. Tamanda n'est pas fini, Tamanda n'est pas fini, a étudié. Pobia, yes, of course, that's what he's saying. And if you look at the opposition, if the opposition don't come together,